Welcome everybody to the War and Peace Baseball Podcast. I'm here today with Farbod Markazi and Alex Rudy. I'm Alex Uwe, and we are going to talk all things trade deadline. It is about 1 day away exactly at this point, and a lot has happened already. So we will talk about what has happened, what will likely happen, and we'll talk about the impact it has. You guys ready to go?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a good answer. So we will go ahead and get started. This will kind of go in chronological order, but we'll talk about some of the bigger trades that have happened so far. We'll start off with the Red Sox. They acquired San Diego pitcher Drew Pomeranz in exchange for one of their top prospects, Anderson Espinoza. So, pretty simple 1-for-1. Who do you think did better in this trade, though? I think both teams got exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
So,
Fair.
I think it was a great trade for both sides. I think it was clear and proper value for Pomeranz's breakout season and a Red Sox team that has a glut of prospects and they can't really all put into the majors.
Yeah, so the thing is, Pomeranz so far on the Red Sox has made 3 starts and hasn't been great. He had one good start in the mix there. I think he went 7 innings of 1-run baseball against the Tigers, but the other 2 starts were pretty below average. I think 5 earned runs in each one of those. We talk about Pomeranz a lot and we talk about regression. Do you think it's going to hit him hard enough to the point where the Red Sox are not going to be happy with what they get this half of the season?
I don't think it's going to be that necessarily, but I mean, we talked about this when this trade happened. I never expected him to be as good as he was in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, take everything into account. The ballpark it's not the huge pitcher's park that Petco is. He has a lot more on his riding on every pitch in a he's contending for a playoff spot. He's contending for a World Series. Versus in there's less pressure in San Diego. We never expected him to be like this. I don't think Boston's going to necessarily regret it, but I don't think he's going to be as great. And it's been kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't quite agree with the point that you made about how there's more pressure in Fenway. With the Red Sox in general. I mean, he was pitching for a job in San Diego. That's enough pressure as is. But I kind of wonder, in the scheme of the postseason, where do you hand this guy the ball? Is he your third starter? Is he your second starter? Is he your fourth starter? I think a lot of that can change throughout the last half of the season.
Or is he in the bullpen even?
I don't see that just because
he came out of the bullpen last year. Most of his playing time last year was out of the bullpen.
I'm not saying it's the first choice, but
it's a possibility.
So,
well,
I would say the one thing about this move is that he's not a rental. He has 3 more years of control, 3 more seasons. So it's not like he's a free agent after the season. So it's a decent investment in at the very least, an innings level quality pitcher. But I mean, he's nothing more than that, and any expectations for him to be more than that this season were probably unreasonable, and I think that they really, if they think they're going to rely on Drew Pomeranz to make it deep in the playoffs, that's a mistake.
Okay, so where would you have him in the playoff rotation? Would you have him 3 behind? Because right now they have Price, Wright, Porcello, him, and Rodriguez. Where would you have him?
4. I would have him behind Porcello and Price for sure.
Well, Porcello and Wright aren't exactly highly acclaimed pitchers either, so it's interesting to see what happens in the mix there, and especially interesting if they end up adding one more arm before end of day tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. Let's talk about another big deal. Well, this one hits a little bit harder at home for us Yankees fans. Aroldis Chapman is gone to the Cubs, but we, Yankee fans, are happy to
paid.
see a 4-player
You
return for
got paid.
Aroldis Chapman. In the big headliner of that deal being Gleyber Torres, the number 1 Cubs prospect, along with 3 other players. One of them is Adam Warren. Welcome back to the Yankees. You know, the Yankees, no surprise, were going to shop Chapman in the trade deadline, but this impact that it has on the Cubs is well worth the kind of package I think that they gave up. Is that not fair to say?
Yeah, no, it's a classic trade. The Cubs need Chapman in the playoffs because those closing at the end of those games with that dependable, 1-2 punch of him and
Rondon. It makes him that much scarier.
It's going to be crucial in the playoffs because ultimately you can score all the runs you want and have as good a starting pitching as you want, but if the bullpen can't maintain the lead in the playoffs, it's going to come back to bite you. And it's not like their bullpen is, poor or anything, but it's going to be really important. This team's one of the best teams in the past 15 years, and it's time to go all in on it, and they're hot. And especially considering, they've lost their last 4 Jake Arrieta starts.
Oh, it's 5 now.
5. Okay, my mistake.
It's 5 now in part 2, Aroldis Chapman's first blown save as a Cub.
Wow.
Interestingly enough.
So, they still clearly have some strengthening that they need to get done. And I think for the Yankees, Warren was a good guy to just get back. Basically means they got Starlin Castro for nothing, which is always a good deal when you get a former All-Star for nothing when he's still in his mid-20s.
It's fun to have a former All-Star with him.
McKinney and Crawford are kind of more lottery ticket outfield prospects in the minors that have big weaknesses and may never be more than 4th outfielders at best, even if they ever make the majors. But they both have skills. Like I think I forgot which, but one of them has really solid speed and defense, and one of them is great tools, as in like power. But the real key is Torres, and I think the only thing that hurts Torres' value a little bit is that no one's really positive if he has the body type to stay at shortstop in the majors, and it's not like he's such an incredible hitter that he'll be that's a star in another position. But to be honest, I think the guy's still really young. He's still in high A. It's great value for one of the best shortstop prospects in an era where shortstops seem to pan out extremely well in the majors. Is a great return for a relief pitcher who's going to be a free agent in 3 months and who you traded minor league depth to acquire in the first place, and who you can just re-sign in the offseason even. So that's how I feel. Sorry, that was a lot. But
it's well said, though. I think it's exactly what the Yankees are trying to do. They're trying to add depth, which can never be overlooked because it's amazing to see how quickly the ranks can thin, and it's amazing to see some of these prospects jump throughout years. So we'll see what happens going forward. Obviously, Chapman is great right now. He's still going to get lots of saves. Sorry, Hector Rondon. I guess maybe next year you can get some saves again.
When this deal happened, obviously every team has their weaknesses. Sorry, it's just one last thing. Obviously every team has their weaknesses, but I think when you look at great teams in the past 5-10 years, comparing this team to them, I think this took them from being a good team to a scary good team in the playoffs. They were already pretty scary to begin with, but yeah, I do like that assessment. Let's go ahead and move on though to another recent trade, this one involving another starting pitcher, Andrew Cashner. He is going to the Marlins along with Colin Ree and another prospect. And the Padres, in return, are getting Jared Cozart, Carter Capps, and one of their top prospects from the Marlins, Josh Naylor, I think.
He was drafted last year, and he is the biggest piece going to the Padres. So, the Padres are doing a pretty good job with this fire sale so far, it seems like. There's a couple other minor deals that they've made too. They cleared out Melvin Upton for basically nothing, but they got some of his payroll off, and they got another minor leaguer. They also traded Matt Kemp to the Braves and acquired Hector Olivera, who they DFA'd. It was a very strategic move to cut some of their salary, but good job doing that, I guess. I think it's kind of a tribute to how truly awful a player Matt Kemp is more than anything. So let's talk about the trade that I mentioned first, though. More impact to the Marlins, obviously. What is Andrew Cashner the rest of the season?
Who even knows? That guy is such a volatile starter at this point. I want to say with confidence he'll be something, but to be completely honest, at this point in his career, the only thing he's consistent is he's consistently inconsistent, and this is probably one of the most it's like a trade that you make in fantasy baseball where you trade where you negotiate for hours and you end up just trading two guys who are just the exact same player with the exact same value, with the exact same position for each other. I mean, excluding the first round draft pick player that the Padres got, this is just basically a swap of mediocre, inconsistent starting pitching between the teams. I think Cashner's the best guy of those guys who went, but he's also been pretty poor the past 2 seasons, and who knows if he'll regain his form when he was at his peak ability.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about Andrew Cashner, he was the next big starting pitcher. Yeah. It's amazing how fast that turned around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say one thing. He does look like a completely different player in Miami already without the beard.
Gross, to be honest.
He looks very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is it is sad. And he makes his debut today, I believe. So we'll see how he actually performs, how different of a pitcher he really is without the beard. Maybe it's been weighing him down the whole time. We'll see. So let's go ahead and move on to more relief pitcher news. Mark Melancon is now a National, and the Pirates kind of traded him out of nowhere. They got, in return, a relief pitcher from the Nationals, Felipe Rivero, and another prospect. But, Mark Melancon is, we talk about the big ones like Chapman and Miller, who we'll talk about later, but I think Melancon is still a top 5 closer in all of baseball, and the Nationals did a good job to jump on that deal pretty quickly. What is the outlook of the Nationals bullpen now? It was already very good to begin with, aside from Jonathan Papelbon, obviously. But I like a lot of the pieces that they have working right now.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty poor evaluation of Melancon's value by the Pirates. Rivero, definitely a good relief pitcher with some potential and great fastball. He could be a very, very good, really already is a great bullpen arm to have. But Melancon, a top 5 closer for about 3 years now. And considering what Cueto got, and considering what Miller got, which we'll get to in a little bit, that's it's really a terrible return. You shouldn't just be swapping, one relief pitcher for. How good is the other prospect that they got? But
I don't think he's
like a nothing.
Lower
he's
prospect too. Yeah.
He's it's not like Felipe Rivera is like Lucas Giolito.
Yeah, he's
25-year-old reliever who has a 4.5 ERA right now. I read some good things about it. He's only had 1 year of experience. So there's definitely some potential that he'll be a valued piece. But to me, it seems I get that the Pirates are only 52-50, so they felt that this year wasn't their year necessary to make a deep playoff run. But I mean, it seems to me that the Nationals kind of made out like bandits.
Yeah, it does seem that way on paper. I think Melanson is not even going to be a free agent this year, right? He's got at least one more year of team control.
I'll find that out.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's done after this year.
Oh, he is. Okay. Well, I mean, even for a rental, that's, a big rental. So the Nationals will, clearly have a better chance at this point. The Mets have not been very active so far, but we know they're looking for pieces. We'll be on the lookout for that. Farbode Insider Markazi will let us know if anything happens. Isn't that right?
Hell yeah.
All right. So let's talk next about a big trade that almost was, and not the fault of either of the teams. Well, it sort of is, but Jonathan Lucroy has vetoed a trade to the Indians. They had a deal in place, the Brewers and the Indians did, in which they would send, I believe, 4 prospects back to Milwaukee for Lucroy and another prospect. It all looked like it was going to be a good deal. The Indians were going to have their catcher. Everybody gets what they want. And it seems like the Indians kind of screwed themselves. They told Lucroy that next year he was going to be a backup first baseman and catcher, and Yan Gomes was going to start. What? Yan Gomes, the guy with, one of the lowest WARs in all of baseball, is going to start next year over Lucroy?
The guy who they literally had to perform a ritual to get exercise the demons out of his body.
And it didn't work.
In the fucking clubhouse. And then he had a long-term injury the next day to...
Maybe they did it wrong? I don't know.
To have him perform better. They think they think is their future a catcher and not the second best. I would say the second best catcher in baseball. Maybe
second best catcher. Yeah, that's fair. Posey, Lucroy.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
What the fuck? Where's the logic at all from the Indians? And I read that they're still trying to negotiate the deal.
No, I read that they gave up already.
Oh, it's done now?
I can check that, but
I mean,
what you got?
I mean, when you're Lucroy and arguably, as we said, the second best. What?
No, yeah, I was.
No.
Go ahead.
No, when you're Lucroy and you're arguably the second best catcher in the league, and you're getting paid $4 million a year, and the Indians say you're You're going to be the backup catcher. You're not going to waive your no trade clause. The Indians that was stupid.
Really, really bizarre decision by them. I mean, I would even just. It's gonna sound maybe immoral and wrong, but I would have even just lied to him and said that, you are going to be the guaranteed guy next year. I mean, they really must be underestimating Lucroy's difference, the difference maker that he can be. Which, I mean, they're obviously an MLB team, so they should know his value properly, and they're trying to trade for him, so they clearly see something in him. But I really don't see a fair way to spin this of the Indians. And that makes the Indians look like a smart team. I mean, Lucroy is making nothing this year and next year.
Yeah.
He's better than anyone who they're playing at DH, and first base or catcher this year or next year. I just can't seem to understand. I don't blame him for vetoing it at all. It's just a bizarre decision.
Yeah. Well, the real winners are pretty much every other team, because now they are in the Lucroy sweepstakes. That includes teams like the Mets, the Dodgers if they want it. There's other contending teams that would happily take Jonathan Lucroy as their catcher. This
year and next.
It's not over for Lucroy. What's that?
No, I said this year and next.
This year and next year. Yeah, when you talk about value like that at that generous of a contract, I guess, or that friendly of a contract. You got to take it. You got to take a chance. And it seems like the Indians were willing to give up a lot for it
Not even a chance. I mean, he's like it's like you have to take the guarantee.
I know. There's no chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Lucroy had like a kind of a rough spell when he was between injuries, but to be honest, in the past like 5 years, he's a pretty damn consistent like top catcher. It's not like he's an offensive catcher who has really he's really weak defensively too. He's fine defensively. So, I mean, wow, just wow.
Just wow indeed. All right, so more on the Indians. Let's talk about a deal they did get done, and this one's a biggie. Andrew Miller is now, I would presume, the Indians' closer, and the Yankees now have another 4-package prospect deal going their way.
Can we take a moment and look at? Okay, I mean, obviously, I don't think the Yankees they also went out and got Tyler Clippard today. I don't think they want to be the. I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they want to necessarily get blown out every night, but still, they're. If you look at their farm system right now, they're the guys that they've traded away that have helped them be a respectable team. They've brought in what could be the next great core of the Yankees.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I was really attached to Miller. I wasn't even that upset when they apparently turned down an offer for Delia, though. We'll never really know if that was true or not.
I was shocked when, I'm sorry.
This could be maybe even a better return. I mean,
you guys got 2 top 100 prospects in this deal. You got another one from the Chapman one, and you got one earlier this year.
So, I mean...
And then to go with the guys you already had in your farm system.
Clint Frazier and Torres already now 1 and 2 in the Yankee system. They still have Mateo and Judge and Gary Sanchez.
Exactly.
I mean, be part of the core of the future, along with Greg Bird, Luis Severino. Justice Sheffield is a 20-year-old former first-round pick. Pitching prospect. I mean, that's a great. He's doing fine in the minors right now. I'm looking at stats right now. Nothing. They're not outstanding, but they're totally fine for a 20-year-old in high A. He's 93 strikeouts in 95 innings. That's very good. He's not walking at too many guys. Or giving up a ton of homers, or anything. So that's a great, lottery ticket. And the other 2 guys they got, I read Heller and Firesen, some Nordic last name, are supposed to be very, good bullpen potential arms, which the Yankees seem to do a great job developing relievers.
Crank out the white relief pitchers.
Yeah, exactly. They do a great job with them. So, I think
random white reliever.
I loved Miller, and that was one of the best contracts Cashman signed in quite a long time. And I think he was having he's having an outstanding season. He's just a great relief pitcher. But I mean, I'm glad the Yankees kind of just accepted that this season really wasn't going to go anywhere, and it was better to restock restock a very, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, a horrendous farm system, and cash in when Miller was at his peak value, and I just can't be unhappy with that. It's not like they got a return that was like the Melanson deal. I can really look into and say why would they do that? I mean, the Indians gave up a lot, honestly, for a relief pitcher, to be completely honest. I mean, as good as Miller is, that's pretty dangerously close to an overpay to a guy who is only going to pitch 1 inning every 2 nights, pretty much, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I've shared this opinion a lot that relief pitching is the most replaceable position in all of baseball. And I think that the Yankees have really done a good job exploiting that in a culture where relief pitching on contending teams is considered, above all else, like the most important thing. And that's a mistake by a lot of these other teams, in my opinion, because bullpen arms can come from anywhere. They don't have to be. I mean, the best ones are the Aroldis Chapman, Andrew Miller types that, are just absolutely dominant. But they great relief pitching takes many forms. I think the Yankees realize that they are going to have a chance to rebuild that bullpen. It might not be immediately, but they still have a lot of nice pieces. And I think, I can't be unhappy with what the Yankees have done either. They have really stepped up and, taken control of this trade deadline, and they might not be done. So we'll see what happens going forward as well there. Those are pretty much all the big trades that have happened so far. There's been a lot of smaller ones recently. I'll just kind of run through them and see if you guys have any particular interest in any of these. Aaron Hill went to the Red Sox. Brad Ziegler, now Red Sox. Ross Detweiler to the Oakland A's. Mike Montgomery to the Cubs. Melvin Upton, as we mentioned, to the Blue Jays.
Montgomery good. Was a good low risk, high reward bullpen addition for the Cubs. I just wanted to.
Yeah, and the prospect they traded is one of the is a pretty good first base prospect who will probably be better served in American League Park. Dan Vogelback. He's a hitter, but we'll see how he does over there. Joaquin Benoit is now a Blue Jay. Drew Storen a Mariner now. That trade did not pan out for the Blue Jays at all. The Ben Revere trade back in the offseason.
It didn't pan out for the Nationals either. Ben Revere's having a horrible year.
Oh, I know, but he's not on a different team, at least. Let's see. The Rangers got a pitcher from the Braves, I think Lucas Harrell. I don't think he's going to start, but he was a starter for the Braves. Eduardo Nunez is now a Giant. That is a pretty big one.
If there's any guy in the major leagues who's currently on steroids, I would put all my money on it being him.
We could play a game like that where you
be honest, I cannot.
As
a Yankee fan, I cannot even comprehend how he's having a good season in any way. He was one of the worst major leaguers that I've ever seen in person when he played on the Yankees. I'm sorry, I just have to say it.
That is a good analysis, I guess. Billy Burns is now a Kansas City Fight Club member. I can see that. They got him for virtually nothing. Yeah.
No, I was reading more about that guy. They basically gave up a 27-year-old all-speed and no-bat outfielder for an all-bat and no anything else 27-year-old. They basically swapped quadruple A players, to be honest. And I think
you see Burns is a quadruple A player.
Well, it really depends on who you think he is. Do you think he's the player of last year or the player of this year? He's probably somewhere in between. I think he might be a little bit overrated in baseball circles because he's in Triple A right now. That's how bad he was doing for a terrible Oakland A's team. So I don't know. I don't really think he's that good of a player. I don't think it was as egregious as initially it looked on paper when you really look into the production that Billy Burns offers. It's really not. I don't think it's that much of a game changer.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. As we mentioned earlier, the Kemp and Oliveira swap was kind of a salary dump. Yeah, how fitting is that? Matt Kemp on the Braves. Two very depressing player in team matchup there.
What a bizarre career. Shows you just injuries just completely kills a career. That's what I think it really.
He got paid.
Shows. His contract is gross. It's really gross. I looked at it yesterday. I had no idea how that was as big and long as it is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when he looks at it, he thinks it's beautiful. So, I don't think he's that unhappy.
He's not complaining, yeah.
No. And Tyler Clippard to the Yankees just this morning. Look at them already re-adding to that bullpen. Good for them. So that is pretty much all that's happened to this trade deadline. I think most of the juicy stuff is going to happen in the next 24 hours. And, if something exciting were to happen on this podcast live, I would absolutely love that, but I'm not going to make any promises there. But before we end off, we should talk about some of the big names that are still out there. There are quite a few, actually, that really could and should be on the move. So we'll talk about a few of the biggest outfield bats that remain on the market, and that's Jay Bruce, Josh Reddick, Carlos Beltran, to name a few. I would be shocked if none of them were traded, but I would also not be that shocked if none of them were traded. If that makes any sense.
I just really can't understand why Bruce or Beltran wouldn't be traded. Even if not now, I guess the waiver deadline, because the Yankees basically said that we're giving up on the playoffs, and the Reds clearly never had a chance. So, they're both free agents after this year. I would really be surprised if if their teams resign either of them. I think there's really no choice. You have to cash them in for what you can get. In my opinion, I don't see the point in keeping them.
Well, apparently Jay Bruce is not in today's lineup for the Reds, and it
says it's a mental health thing.
Well, I don't think it's a mental health thing. It's a mental day off for both.
My bad.
A mental health issue is a little bit different.
I read that wrong.
Yep.
Josh Reddick is also a free agent, which I did not realize, I guess, according to BaseballReference.com. That seems wrong. He's a lot older than I realized, actually. So, he also, I would guess.
Well, if there's any team that is great at fire sales, it is the Oakland A's, and they need to trade Josh Reddick now. They cannot.
I'm surprised he hasn't been traded.
There's no place for him. Considering some of the terrible deals they've made in the last calendar year, just make Reddick another one.
Ooey.
What's up, Insider?
Are you sitting down?
I am sitting down. Should I be standing up so I can sit down?
Bregman just got his first major league hit.
Yay! Happy feelings. Was it a single?
Yes, it's to center.
Nice. All right. Only took him 5 games. Anyway, we were talking about Josh Reddick, were we not?
Yes, we were.
All right. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Josh Reddick needs to get the heck out of there. Seeing what the A's got for players like, obviously Josh Donaldson, but like Brett Lawrie, they pretty much traded for nothing. It seemed like, they've shown they're not afraid of losing value, because clearly they're not.
That's.
I'm gonna be blunt.
Interesting way to put that.
They're not afraid to lose value. It's not that they foolishly do. It's they're not afraid to. They are not afraid to take chances on worse players. Anyway, do you see Beltran moving, by the way? Considering what the Yankees have done so far?
I don't know why he wouldn't be on them.
I don't know why he's not on the Indians right now alongside Andrew Miller.
What? Wait, who?
Okay,
Carlos Beltran. I'm surprised he's not alongside Andrew Miller on his way to the Indians.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I agree 100%.
I don't know why he wouldn't be traded if after everything that's gone on so far. I would expect him to be traded, especially if he's a free agent at the end of the year.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying when we brought the 3 guys up.
I wonder if it's ever happened where 2 teams have made 2 separate deals in the trade deadline for different players.
I guarantee.
Yeah,
I guarantee
I'm sure it's happened before. I'd be shocked that it never happened.
But that seems like a weird thing, or at least in the same 24-hour period. They make a trade for the one player, and then they get back to talking about another player, and somehow hadn't talked about the first player before. I don't know. It seems weird, doesn't it?
They're probably just waiting it out a little bit more to see what how the rest of the next 24 hours goes.
Yeah. Well, I think waiting it out, like, everybody knows Beltran's on the market. It's not like he's not being talked about at all. Like, waiting it out doesn't mean, like, oh, he's a senior.
No. Waiting out in the sense of who else they can get instead. Not waiting in terms of his value developing. Waiting out in terms of just who else are the other options that they can get. And kind of trying to play all the teams, all the sellers against each other to get the best possible deal.
Yeah. All right. All right, let's talk about a few more of the prospective trade candidates, and let's get to the big arms here. We are going to talk about some of the top starting pitchers, 3 of which are probably from the Rays, to be honest. And Chris Archer, Matt Moore, and Jake Odorizzi all have been in trade talks in the last week.
I think if you're the Dodgers and you want, like, I think if you're the Dodgers, you have to definitely take a shot. And Andrew Friedman, you have to take a shot at Archer or a Moore, or get because Archer's having a down year, but I don't think this is the Chris Archer this is the real Chris Archer. I think next year he's going to have a much better season. If you're Andrew Friedman, you've got to take a shot.
Yeah, his peripherals are really good too. It's a weird season for him. Obviously not as sharp as last year. He's getting hit around quite a bit, but the strikeouts are clearly there. He's still a very talented pitcher, the most talented on the trade market, I would say.
Great contract too. 6 years, $25.5 million signed through 2000.
The Rays always do that. They did that with Matt Moore. I think it was 7 years something.
And they did it with Longo.
Yeah.
I think is pitching the Dodgers' biggest issue.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
They don't have a Clayton Kershaw, and that is a big problem for them.
Okay, but if they don't have Kershaw, they're not going anywhere anyway, so...
Well, you don't know that, because they're actually winning games as we speak.
No, know they're not going to win the World Series if they don't have Kershaw in the playoffs. That's not something you have to think about.
I know that, but you have to think about getting there, too. They're a big market team that has to make the push if they're at the point they are this season. They have to. Is that not fair to say?
I think they should go for him. If not, maybe look at Moore or Odorizzi behind him.
I just think their team has a ton of weaknesses, and I don't think one pitcher is going to solve that weakness. I just don't think this is their year. I don't think that that this is their team. I mean, to be honest, just looking at their roster, to me, their offense seems weaker to me than their pitching on paper. That's what I see.
Yeah, but, if you're the Dodgers front office, you can't just go ahead and say, oh, it's not our team this year. We can't really push for it this year. That's not an option. They can't do that. They have to trade for a guy right now. They have a real shot at the division, considering how bad the Giants have been lately. And I'm not saying they're going to make a push over the Giants.
Do they really have a shot at the division? They're starting Brandon Norris. They're starting Bud Norris. And as their number 2 in their rotation currently, they have Howie Kendrick in left, and
he's played left field. He's played left field before.
17-year-old Chase Utley at second base. Is that really a team that's going to win the NL West? Do you really think that?
Nope, but
it's
not my place. I'm not the front office guy. I'm sure if I was in the front office and my ass was on fire, then I would need to make a trade.
I will say this. Their DL team might be better than the Diamondbacks.
That's really interesting, actually. We should do that one day where we have the all DL teams going. I'm interested to see how that plays out.
The Angels would win.
Yeah, it is interesting. The other LA team is clearly, All right. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and talk about a couple of the guys that you're shopping other teams right now?
To be completely honest, for me, we only have 2 guys on this list, but I would shop much more than just Shu and Santiago. You could shop Yunel Escobar, Joe Smith, Houston Street. You can shop all those guys because we all know this isn't a team that's going to win anything this year at all. Next year, you got to bring in prospects. You got to bring in assets to help win for the future, I mean, I think Shoemaker has to go at this point because I don't think his value could get any higher, and he's 29 years old, so I think he has to be gone at this point. Santiago's a year and a half left of of club control, so I could see him possibly staying, but I want him gone too. And then I don't know. They didn't activate Yunel Escobar today. I mean, they didn't activate Cliff Pennington today off the DL, maybe because they're waiting for Escobar to get traded. If you want to, yeah. But I don't know. I think Shu is the one that has to go.
Why are you calling him Shu? It's weird.
Shoemaker.
I know,
Sorry.
but it just Shu is a little bit unsettling.
Angel fan.
The Shu.
Yeah, Shoemaker has to go. I mean, do you not agree with me? I don't think his value can get any higher.
Oh, it can't. Neither can Santiago's. Santiago's been great
except
over the last month.
Game. Well, last night's game was god awful, but
well, whatever.
He had 119 pitches through 5.
Whatever.
But like, if I would love for both of them to be gone if we get if we get good assets for the future. But at this point, yeah. Well, I mean, we're building for the future right now. We have to start for that.
All right. Yeah, Angels not in great shape. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out the next couple days. A few more players to talk about. We'll get through those real quick. Rich Hill on the A's is probably one of the top pitching pitchers out there.
They said they will not do a conditional deal for Rich Hill. If you're a team that wants a starting pitcher in Rich Hill, you have to assume that there's going to be some risk with his blister.
Oh, so is there no? What does that mean? Like you can't have.
I mean, I think he's on the DL, right? So yeah, I'm assuming. I'll look further into it and I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm confused on what that means. Like, all the teams know what the deal is. Like, I don't know what
Let me see.
Yeah. Anyway, Rich Hill's still out there and he's very good, so he can help a team. Jeremy Hellickson of the Phillies has also been great this year. He can help a team as well. There's a lot of teams that need pitching and not a lot of pitchers being traded so far. Shelby Miller of the Diamondbacks is I'm sure they're more than happy to get rid of him if anybody would like to take him. Junior Guerra of the Brewers is another guy who has been very good this year, be a good trade target for some contending teams. As well as the relief pitchers in Jeremy Jeffress and Will Smith. Those are two very highly sought after relief pitching arms, and seeing what the relief pitcher haul has looked like so far, who knows, maybe the Brewers are in the works of another huge relief pitching centered deal. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Both of those guys have been pretty good this season. The Giants certainly could use either one of those arms. I think they've been in talks. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's one other name that is a big long shot, I think, at this point, and that's Wade Davis, who is injured now. But, who knows? There could be teams out there that are willing to trade for him for that year next year, where they'd have him under control. I think that will not happen, but he was one of the names that was thrown around for a while. So
it's a forearm flexor strain, though, so that's a bit sketch if you.
Yeah, I don't think anything's happening right now, but we'll see. Wow, what a shit show it's been for the Fight Club, this year.
Yeah, I know.
Good for them. Yeah, I think that covers pretty much all the news regarding the trade deadline. I think we have done our best to cover all of it. So, obviously a lot more is going to happen. It's there's a lot of names out there that we mentioned that are still sitting quietly on their teams. So with all the speculation on players being held out of lineups and all that fun stuff. We'll see what happens going forward.
As Drupal Cabrera carried off field after injuring leg.
Maybe the Mets are in the market for an infielder. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, the only thing I really found about the Rich Hill thing was Ken Rosenthal saying A's will not do conditional deal for Rich Hill, take him as is or not.
How do you not take him as he is? Do you take him as something else? Like, what does that mean?
There's not like a great explanation for this.
Okay.
Let me see. Would you do Rich Hill for Josh? Would you put Rich Hill and Josh Reddick in a package for the Dodgers?
For the Dodgers? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, take them. The A's are very flexible, as I mentioned. Yeah, so that is going to do it for our podcast today. Thank you for joining us as always. We would appreciate any feedback you have for us, and you can do so on Twitter at WPB_podcast. You can do so by checking out our website, which the link is down below as well, and our Gmail is warmpeacebaseball@gmail.com. Feel free to leave comments below as well. Any form of feedback is very much appreciated, and that is going to do it for today. So, as always, Farbode.
Peace.